Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, as we stand here, toes on the threshold of 2025, let's pause for a moment. Reflect on the year gone by, not to dwell, not to beat ourselves up, but to learn. Because if we're not learning from the past, we're bound to repeat it. Time is a resource that once spent can never be recovered. Yet so many of us treat it as if it were limitless, wasting hours on things that don't move us closer to our goals or fulfilling our potential. The reality, however, is that time is one of the few things in life that we cannot control or get back. Every day that passes is a day we will never see again. And every moment spent procrastinating or in idle pursuit is a moment we could have spent doing something meaningful. When we talk about valuing time, it's not just about managing it efficiently. It's about understanding the magnitude of its importance. Time doesn't wait for anyone, and it's constantly moving forward. The clock doesn't pause because you're tired, distracted, or uncertain. It keeps ticking, whether you're ready or not. And as time passes, so do the opportunities it brings with it. The longer we wait to act on our dreams, the more chances we let slip by. Think about this. How many times have you said, "I'll do it tomorrow," or "I'll start next week"? How many days have you let slip by without making any real progress toward your dreams? We often tell ourselves that there's always more time, but the truth is that time doesn't wait for us to feel ready. It moves forward, with or without our participation. Every time we delay action, we push our success further away from us. To truly value time is to recognize that it is a gift. It is a currency, and how we spend it determines the life we build. But more than that, valuing time is about making intentional choices. It's about saying yes to things that serve our purpose and no to distractions that pull us away from our goals. It's about committing to the things that truly matter, the things that will shape our future and contribute to our growth. When we start respecting time, we begin to see the difference between being busy and being productive. Being busy is easy. It's filling our days with tasks that don't necessarily take us anywhere, but they give us the illusion of progress. We run around doing this and that, but at the end of the day, we haven't really accomplished anything meaningful. Productivity, on the other hand, is about making deliberate progress in the areas of our life that matter most. It's about focusing on what's essential, prioritizing the actions that align with our goals, and spending our time doing things that move us closer to success. Valuing time also means recognizing that not all time is equal. We have to be intentional about how we allocate our time. Just as we budget our finances, we should budget our time, spending it wisely, investing it in areas that yield the highest returns. Whether that's building relationships, investing in personal development, pursuing our passions, or working toward a career goal, we have to use our time with purpose. The bottom line is this: time is our most valuable resource. It's irreplaceable. Once we understand that, we'll stop wasting it on things that don't matter and start using it to build the life we want. So take a moment and ask yourself, how am I spending my time? Is it moving me closer to where I want to be, or is it holding me back? The choice is yours, but remember, time waits for no one. Fear is one of the most powerful and paralyzing emotions that can grip us, often keeping us from reaching our true potential. It creeps in when we step outside of our comfort zones, when we face uncertainty or challenge, and when we're on the verge of making big decisions. The irony, however, is that fear is often more of a mental barrier than a physical one. It thrives on our doubts and insecurities, whispering stories of failure and doubt, convincing us that we are not ready or capable of taking that next step. But here's the truth. Fear is not a sign of weakness. It's simply a sign that you are on the brink of growth. Too many of us allow fear to dictate the choices we make, leading us to play it safe and avoid taking risks. But playing it safe often means staying stuck. We get comfortable in our routines, even if they aren't fulfilling. We stay in situations, jobs, or relationships that don't serve us simply because fear keeps us from stepping into the unknown. Fear tells us that failure is a possibility. But what it doesn't tell us is that failure is often a stepping stone to success. Every person who has achieved greatness has faced fear, but they did not let it stop them. Instead, they embraced it and moved forward despite it. Overcoming fear begins with understanding that fear is a natural part of the human experience. It doesn't go away just because you wish it would. Fear is there to protect us. It's an instinctive response that evolved to keep us safe in dangerous situations. But in today's world, many of the things we fear aren't actually dangerous. We fear judgment, rejection, or failure. Things that, while uncomfortable, are not life-threatening. Once we realize this, we can begin to challenge the stories fear is telling us. One powerful way to overcome fear is to reframe it. Instead of seeing fear as something to be avoided, we can choose to see it as an opportunity for growth. When fear arises, instead of running from it, we should ask ourselves, what is this fear trying to teach me? Is it showing me an area where I need more preparation? Is it pointing out a fear of failure or rejection that I need to address? Fear can be a teacher, guiding us to the places where we need to grow the most. Another way to face fear is by taking small, manageable steps. If the idea of making a major life change or taking a big leap feels overwhelming, start small. Take a baby step in the direction you want to go. As you continue to move forward, the fear begins to lose its grip on you. Sometimes overcoming fear also involves changing our mindset about failure. Failure is not something to be feared. It is a necessary part of the journey. The most successful people in the world have failed multiple times, but they viewed failure not as a reflection of their worth, but as a lesson to be learned. When we stop seeing failure as a permanent condition and instead see it as a temporary setback, we become more resilient in the face of fear. Lastly, overcoming fear requires action. Fear thrives in the absence of movement. The longer we stay still, the more power fear has over us. But when we take action, even if it's imperfect, we rob fear of its power. Action is the antidote to fear. It's the only way to prove to yourself that you are capable of more than you think. Fear will always be a part of life, but it doesn't have to control you. The more you face it, the less power it has. So the next time fear tries to stop you in your tracks, remember that it's simply a signal that you're on the edge of something great. Embrace it, take action, and let it propel you forward into the life you deserve. In today's fast-pacing world, it's easy to get caught up in the illusion of being busy. We often find ourselves running from one task to the next, checking off items on a never-ending to-do list, and yet, at the end of the day, we feel like we've accomplished very little. The key to breaking free from this cycle is understanding the difference between being busy and being productive. While busyness can often lead to exhaustion and stress, productivity is about making progress in the areas that matter most. To prioritize productivity, the first step is to get clear on what truly matters. Far too many of us spend our time reacting to the needs and demands of others, filling our schedules with tasks that don't align with our long-term goals. We get caught up in urgent but unimportant activities, like checking emails constantly, attending meetings that don't contribute to our growth, or engaging in social media distractions. When we do this, we lose sight of what we want to achieve, and end up spending our days chasing after things that ultimately don't serve us. To prioritize productivity, we must take a step back and focus on our most important objectives. What are the things that, if completed, would move you closer to your bigger vision? These are the tasks that deserve your attention. Start by identifying your core priorities and eliminating anything that doesn't contribute to them. This is where time management comes into play. The tasks that waste time or comes to this play, it's not just about having a packed calendar. It's about allocating your time to the activities that will yield the highest return. By learning to say no to the things that don't align with your goals, you free up time and energy for the things that truly matter. Another important aspect of prioritizing productivity is managing distractions. In an age where constant notifications, emails, and phone calls are just a tap away, staying focused can be a challenge. Distractions break our concentration and derail our progress, causing us to spend more time refocusing than actually getting work done. To combat this, create an environment that supports your focus. Turn off unnecessary notifications. Set boundaries with people who tend to interrupt your work. And designate specific times for checking emails or social media. By controlling your environment, you regain control over your time. Additionally, productivity thrives on structure. Without structure, tasks can become overwhelming and we may struggle to find motivation. One effective method for maintaining structure is the use of time blocking. Time blocking involves breaking your day into chunks, each dedicated to a specific task or activity. By creating blocks of focused time, you can ensure that each priority receives the attention it deserves without feeling scattered or overwhelmed. This approach also helps you stay on track and avoids the temptation to multitask, which often leads to lower quality work and increased stress. To truly prioritize productivity, we must also recognize the importance of rest. It may sound counterintuitive, but working nonstop without taking breaks leads to burnout and diminished productivity. Our brains need rest to function at their best. Schedule regular breaks, and don't be afraid to step away from your work when you need it. Whether it's a short walk, a few minutes of meditation, or simply taking time to relax, stepping away can recharge your energy and allow you to return to your tasks with renewed focus and creativity. Finally, productivity requires a mindset shift. It's not about doing more. It's about doing what matters. Instead of trying to cram as much as possible into your day, focus on fewer, more meaningful tasks. When we prioritize productivity, we embrace quality over quantity and take intentional steps toward our goals. Productivity is not about working harder, but about working smarter, focusing on what moves the needle and allowing ourselves the space to do our best work. In the end, prioritizing productivity is about making intentional choices every day to move closer to the life we want to create. By focusing on what matters, eliminating distractions, creating structure, taking breaks, and shifting our mindset, we can transform busyness into meaningful progress. Productivity isn't a measure of how many tasks we complete. It's a measure of how effectively we use our time to create the life we desire. In our fast-paced, technology-driven world, relationships are more important than ever. Yet often, they are taken for granted. One of the most vital aspects of strengthening relationships is active communication. It's easy to slip into routine conversations that are superficial. But true connection comes when we listen with intention and engage with empathy. Another cornerstone of strong relationships is vulnerability. It can be difficult to let down our guard, especially in a world where we are constantly trying to present a perfect image. But vulnerability is where true connection lies. When we allow ourselves to be seen in our raw, unpolished form, sharing our fears, struggles, and uncertainties, it opens the door for others to do the same. Alongside communication and vulnerability, consistency plays a crucial role in nurturing relationships. Relationships need regular care and attention to thrive. We can't expect a bond to grow strong by occasional acts of kindness or infrequent check-ins. It's the everyday efforts that matter. Remembering a friend's favorite drink, sending a simple text to check in, offering help when needed, or simply showing up. These small, consistent actions prove that you care and are invested in the other person. Over time, they accumulate and create a deeper sense of connection and reliability. It's also essential to practice empathy in our relationships. Life is full of ups and downs, and everyone we encounter is carrying their own struggles. Forgiveness is another vital ingredient in strengthening relationships. No one is perfect, and misunderstandings, mistakes, and hurt feelings are bound to arise. Holding on to grudges or past mistakes can create distance and resentment. True strength in relationships comes from the ability to forgive both others and ourselves. Forgiveness doesn't mean excusing bad behavior or forgetting what happened. It means letting go of the negative emotions that bind us to past pain so we can move forward with understanding and compassion. It allows relationships to heal and evolve, creating space for growth. Lastly, spending quality time together is irreplaceable. Life can be busy, and we often find ourselves caught up in the whirlwind of responsibilities. But making time for the people who matter most is crucial for building stronger connections. Whether it's a deep conversation over coffee, a shared hobby, or a simple outing. These moments create memories that bind people together. It's not about the quantity of time spent, but the quality of the interaction. For too many of us, dreams are limited by our current circumstances, our doubts, and our fears. We set small goals because we're afraid of failure or we don't think we deserve something greater. But to dream big is to acknowledge that we have the potential to achieve more than we can even fathom, and that the only limits that truly exist are the ones we place on ourselves. The first step in dreaming big is breaking free from the constraints of your current reality. We often allow the present moment to define what's possible for us in the future. If we're stuck in a job that doesn't fulfill us, or living a life that feels safe but stagnant, it's easy to believe that's all we're capable of. But true dreaming begins when we challenge those boundaries. We must embrace the possibility that we are not defined by our current situation. Your job, your relationships, or your environment do not dictate your worth or your potential. Your dreams are bigger than your circumstances. And when you truly internalize this, you'll realize that the future is yours to shape. Dreaming big also requires us to let go of fear, the fear of failure, rejection, or even success. These fears are often more paralyzing than anything that could actually happen. It's easy to let them dictate our actions, to play it safe, and to stay in the comfortable space where nothing challenges us. But growth only happens outside of our comfort zones. Big dreams come with the risk of failure, and failure is often the best teacher. When you dream big, you also open the door for others to dream with you. The energy and passion that come from pursuing a big dream can inspire and uplift those around you. People want to be part of something bigger than themselves. They want to be involved in something that excites them, challenges them, and shows them that anything is possible. By dreaming big, you not only create opportunities for yourself, but you also create a ripple effect, empowering others to believe in their own potential and pursue their own dreams. Dreaming big also means embracing the idea of growth. We must recognize that big dreams require personal development. It's not just about wanting something more, it's about becoming the person who's capable of achieving those dreams. This might involve learning new skills, overcoming limiting beliefs, or developing resilience and patience. It's about committing to the journey, understanding that it will take time, effort, and sacrifice. But every step you take toward that bigger vision shapes you into someone who is more capable, more confident, and more equipped to handle the challenges ahead. Ultimately, dreaming big is about believing in your own potential and embracing the limitless possibilities that life has to offer. It's about seeing beyond the constraints of today and imagining a future full of possibility. It's about setting audacious goals, taking risks, and trusting that the journey will be worth it. When you dream big, you align your heart with your purpose and you allow yourself to move through life with passion, courage, and a deep sense of excitement. So dare to dream big. The world needs your dreams, and you are capable of making them a reality. Mistakes are often viewed as failures, something to be avoided at all costs. The first step in learning from mistakes is adopting the right mindset. Instead of seeing mistakes as setbacks or proof of our inadequacy, we should view them as learning experiences. When we make a mistake, we have two choices. We can either dwell on the failure and let it define us, or we can analyze it and extract the lessons it holds. The key is to shift our perspective. Mistakes are not permanent labels. They are temporary detours that provide us with the wisdom we need to succeed in the future. Embracing this mindset allows us to move forward without fear of failure, knowing that each mistake brings us closer to our goals. The next step in learning from mistakes is reflection. After making a mistake, it's crucial to take time to analyze what went wrong and why it happened. Reflection involves asking ourselves the hard questions. What could I have done differently? Was there a part of my approach that was flawed? Was my mindset or attitude a factor? By taking the time to reflect, we not only gain clarity about the mistake, but also uncover ways to prevent it from happening again. Reflection helps us identify patterns in our behavior and decision-making, which can guide us toward better choices in the future. One of the most powerful aspects of learning from mistakes is accountability. It's easy to blame external circumstances, other people, or even bad luck when things don't go as planned. However, true growth comes when we take full responsibility for our actions. Holding ourselves accountable doesn't mean beating ourselves up for making a mistake. It means acknowledging our role in the situation and taking ownership of the lesson. Accountability empowers us to make changes and take control of our lives rather than staying stuck in a cycle of blame and self-doubt. Mistakes also teach us resilience. When we make a mistake, it can be easy to feel discouraged, especially if the mistake leads to a setback. However, resilience is about getting back up after we fall. It's about not letting a single error define our journey or stop us from trying again. Every time we bounce back from a mistake, we build strength and determination. It's through perseverance and a refusal to quit that we develop the resilience necessary to succeed in life. The more mistakes we make, the more opportunities we have to practice resilience, which ultimately makes us stronger and more capable of handling future challenges. Moreover, learning from mistakes requires a willingness to adapt. Often mistakes reveal flaws or areas where we need to improve. To grow from a mistake, we must be willing to make adjustments in our approach. This might mean learning new skills, changing our strategies, or reevaluating our goals. The willingness to adapt is a key trait of successful people. They are not afraid to change course when necessary. Instead of stubbornly sticking to a plan that isn't working, they use their mistakes as a signal that it's time to adjust and try a different path. Finally, learning from mistakes means embracing the idea that perfection is an illusion. No one is perfect, and no one will ever avoid making mistakes entirely. The key is to learn from those mistakes and use them to propel us forward. Perfectionism can be paralyzing because it creates the fear that any mistake will be catastrophic. But the truth is, perfection doesn't lead to growth. Mistakes do. When we allow ourselves to make mistakes without fear of judgment, we free ourselves to take risks, innovate, and improve. In the end, mistakes are not something to fear or avoid. They are an essential part of the human experience. They offer invaluable lessons that help us grow, adapt, and become the best versions of ourselves. By reflecting on our mistakes, taking accountability, building resilience, and being willing to learn and adapt, we turn every failure into an opportunity for success. Mistakes are not the end. They are simply a chapter in the story of our progress. So instead of letting them hold us back, let's embrace them as the powerful tools they are, helping us to move forward, stronger and wiser.